Got him. We got him. Psych. I've had them for 2 months. How about we review them? Folks, how you doing? How you feeling? Welcome to my YouTube channel, True Fernie. I am your host, True Fernie, and today I want to give a 2-month in review of the Jordan 1 OG colorway, or more commonly known as the Lost and Founds. We're still not yet to the 2-month mark. We're like a month and a week or two in since the release of this shoe. For y'all that follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you just know how crazy of a story it was to get these shoes on release date. I didn't hit on sneakers, I didn't hit on Finish Line, I didn't hit on Foot Locker, I didn't hit on any of the online retailers, but I did, however, hit in my local shoe palace through a raffle. And man, just to cut the story short, I basically had to get through the employee entrance because the store opened an hour earlier than the mall. You know, shit was shady. It was a little bit shady. I felt like I was doing a drug deal, like on the download, to be honest. But this was a straight up retailer selling us shoes for retail price. But I finally got Chicago colorway for the Jordan 1s, and I'm happy that I got the shoes. Obviously, I know just how much people are wanting these shoes for themselves, but they, for a reason, they weren't my favorite sneaker of 2022, and with good reason. Okay, first off, how about we go over the good things about this shoe? I really dig the yellow, the red, at least the red parts of the leather. The red leather is really nice. Even the swoosh, the leather that's on that is really nice. The foam on the collar is very soft. It's very firm, and it's really comfortable enough. The actual tongue is a foam, so it's also really comfortable to wear. It is it's as comfortable as you can get for a Jordan 1. Of course, they're not the most comfortable shoes out there, but they're fine for a wear here and there. But I did have some huge gripes with the shoe. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are certain parts that I do like vintaged from this shoe. I like the tongue, that it's a little bit vintagey. You can see it's not fully white. It's also not fully vintage. It's like a little cream colored. So I appreciate that. I also like the midsoles. The midsoles, they're not fully vintage, but you can kind of see that they have like a tinge of a vintage to them. But this whole reimagine, this whole story that they built around the shoe, don't get me wrong, it's really cool. At the same time, I think it's a little ironic that Nike are the ones making a story out of the mom and pop shop, and how these shoes were, found in like the back rooms because they weren't that popular when they first dropped, and they were lost, and then they were found by, collectors and whatnot. But it's really hilarious because Nike are basically, partly, if not fully, responsible for the collapse of mom and pop sneaker stores. They obviously infamously, took away certain contracts. Nowadays, it's really hard to get a Nike, just basically an official Nike retailer. But yeah, so I find that story ironic, but at the same time, I'm not a big fan of the pre-vintage, just the pre-vintaging, the aging, the artificial aging that they give to the shoe. Of course, they got the actual collar over here, pre-aged. It's a little vintage, it's cracked, and honestly, like, it looks fine enough, at least on my shoe. I know you get varied results depending on the type of shoe that you got. I mean, it's a per shoe basis just how good the crack effect is given here. Apparently they use some sort of chemical to do this, so it's not really a controlled aging, so to speak. I've seen aging not even look that aged at all. I've seen aging look terrible, like to the point where you're basically just buying an extremely old shoe, and I don't like that. There's a reason why people like these colorways, because obviously they're the OG colorways. These are the colorways that Michael Jordan wore when he was with the Bulls, when he started out his career. And there's a certain appeal to the vintage look, but for me, at least, I would like to be the one that gives them the vintage look. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to be like, I bought an OG colorway, it's a new shoe, I'm gonna take care of it as long as I can. Of course, you can only do so much, you're still gonna get creases and all that, but that's part of the story of every single shoe that you buy and every single story you give to the shoe. I don't want somebody to give me that story already made. I don't want to buy a shoe and be like, yeah, I bought these, they're kind of vintagey, but they're not real vintage. They're just made to look that way, so I don't like that. I also don't like the cracked leather on the white parts, at least the white leather parts. It feels like it looks like a cracked soil that you see in like lake beds in the desert, and it just makes me more worried about using the shoe, because you can literally probably get a needle and like take off part of the paint from there. And I don't like that. I do not like that. I don't like having to basically walk around in basically eggshells, because it does look like an eggshell, you know, cracking. So not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of that. I mean, at the same time, you know, I'm talking a lot of shit on the shoe, but it's an OG colorway. Besides that, it's a great shoe. I think this is probably one of my, you know, biggest prized possessions in my collection, besides the Jordan 3 Fire Reds. And yeah, it's an amazing shoe. It's an amazing story. A little ironic, and I think it's a little distasteful from Nike to paint it that way, especially by putting the damn price on the box of how much a Jordan 1 cost back in the 80s, back in the 90s. I do recommend you going true to size with this one if you're able to cop this, whether that be retail on this rumored, take that with a grain of salt, rumored restock for the Jordan 1, or if you're buying it on the resale market, which I will never recommend, of course, because you can never know with these things. Proceed with caution when it comes to the resale market. All in all, I do like the box. I like the vintage look, at least to that. If they were to kept just the vintage look in, you know, limited to the box and what's inside the box, I wouldn't mind. It's okay, but the shoe actually being aged, it seems a little gimmicky to me. I like the old school box. I like the little details here and there that they put together. I like that the actual paper inside the box is made to, you know, designed to look like a newspaper ad from back in the day. I do like the little receipt they give you. It's, you know, it's a little bit more of a, it adds to the gimmick in essence, but it is still a little fun, at least. I would appreciate more to get the actual little brochure that they give, you know, Jordan sometimes gives with their shoes. For example, on the Jordan Fire Red 3s, where they break down the shoe, how it's manufactured, you know, the details on the materials, etc., etc. I would have appreciated that a lot more, and them actually explaining, if they're gonna vintage the shoe, age the shoe, they should at least give you a little brochure saying how they did it, how they came to that look, what chemicals they use, yada yada. I mean, it's obviously, I know they're trying to keep it, I don't know, probably just want to keep like some sort of mystery to it and play more into like, oh no, you should believe it, these are actually lost and found 85s. But come on now, like just tell us how it's made. That's the fun part. You know, people love knowing how shoes are made and what the materials are and all that. Just paint a story around that more than, you know, oh, these are just made to look like old shoes. But yeah, besides that, I mean, hey, if the restocks are true and they're coming, like, you can't go wrong with an OG colorway, especially with the Jordan 1. So not my favorite shoe just based on the vintage effect, but still, all in all, it is probably one of my most worn shoes over the past 2 months. Great shoe. But folks, you let me know what you think about the Jordan 1 lost and founds. Were you able to cop one in the original release? Did you get it on resale? I know there was a lot of issues with mold on the collar, which was truly shameful from Nike for that to happen. But again, these things happen. If you work in logistics, you understand that these trailers, man, that they keep the shoes in, like, they're not fully weathered. These sort of things do seep into the cracks, of course, those things being rainwater. So yeah, I'm sure that's probably what happened. They just kept these shoes inside a trailer for too long, water seeped in, moisture built up, and you know, that's essentially what happened. These shoes come out with mold. But again, it's not acceptable from Nike. I hope people were able to, you know, get that sorted out, but it is what it is. Last year was a huge OG colorway year, and you know, we got the Jordan 3 Fire Reds, we got the Jordan Lost and Founds, we got the Jordan 2 Chicagos. It was a crazy year for Chicago's. Were you able to cop any of those? So you let me know down in the comments down below. But folks, please take care of each other, but most importantly, take care of yourself and your sneakers. Keep them in a dry place, all right? You don't want to be the person who outshines Nike in the mold department. You know what I'm saying? All right, peace.